Pale Blue Dot, A Vision of the Human Future in Space. Carl Sagan. Pale Blue Dot. Chapter 4. A universe not made for us. The sea of space was once too at the full and round us shore lay like the fold of a bright girdle pearl. But now I only hear is melancholy, long, withdrawing roar, retreating to the beach, to the breath of the night wind, down the vast edge drear, and naked singlings of the world. Matthew Arnold, Dover Beach, 1867. What a beautiful sunset, you say. Well, I'm up before sunrise. No matter what the scientists allege, in everyday speech you often ignore their finding. We don't talk about us turning, but about the sun rising and setting. Try formulating it in Copernican language. Would you say, Billy, be home by the time the Earth has rotated enough so as to occult the sun below the local horizon? Billy would be long gone before you've finished. You haven't been able even to find a graceful location that accurately conveys the heliocentric insight. We at the center and everything else circling us is built into our language. We teach it to our children. We are unreconstructed geocentrists hiding behind the Copernican veneer. In 1633, the Roman Catholic Church condemned Galileo for teaching that the earth goes around the sun. Let's take a closer look at this famous controversy. In the preface to his book comparing the two hypotheses, the earth-centered and the sun-centered universe, Galileo had written, "The celestial phenomenon will be examined, strengthening the Copernican hypothesis until it might seem that this must triumph absolutely." And later in the book he confessed, "Nor can I ever sufficiently admire Copernican and his followers. They have, through sheer force of intellect, done such violence to their own sense as to prefer what reason told them over the sensible experience plainly showed them." The Church declared in its indictment of Galileo the doctrine that the earth is neither the center of the universe nor immovable, but moves even with a daily rotation is absurd, and both psychologically and theologically false, and at the least an error of pace. The Copernican veneer, one of the few quasi-Copernican expressions in English, the universe doesn't revolve around you. The astronomical truths intend to bring fledgling Marxists down to us. Galileo replied, "The doctrine of movement of Earth and the fixity of the sun is condemned on the ground that the Scripture speaks in many places in the sun moving and the earth standing still. It's fiercely spoken that the Scriptures cannot lie, but no one will deny that they are frequently abstruse and their truth meaning difficult to discover, and more than the bare words signify. I think that in the discussion of natural problem, we ought to begin not with the scripture, but with experiment and demonstrate. But in his recantation, June 22nd, 1633, Galileo was made to say, having been admonished by the Holy Office entirely be abandoned the false opinion that the sun was the center of the universe and immovable, and that the earth was not the center of the same and is moved. I've been suspected of heresy, that is, of having held and believed that the sun is the center of the universe immovable, and that the earth is not the center of the same, and that it does move. I abjure with a sincere heart and unbrained face. I curse and detest the same error and heresy, and generally all and every error and sect contrast of the Holy Catholic Church. It took the Church until 1832 to remove Galileo's work from its list of books which Catholics were forbidden to read at the risk of dire punishment of their immortal soul. Pontifical disquiet with modern science has ebbed and flowed since the time of Galileo. The high watermark in recent history of the 1864 syllabus of errors of Pius IX, the Pope who was convening the Vatican Council at which the doctrine of papal infallibility was, in his insistence, first proclaimed. Here are a few excerpts. Divine revelation is perfect and therefore is not subject to continual and indefinite progress in order to correspond with the progress of human religion. No man is free to embrace the profess the religion which he believed to be true, guided by the right of reason. The Church has power to define dogmatically the religion of Catholic Church to be the only true religion, which is necessarily, even in the present day, that the Catholic religion shall be held as the only religion of the state, to the exclusion of all other forms of worship. The civil liberty of every mode of worship, and the full power given to all the openly and publicly manifesting their opinion and their ideal, conduce more easily to corrupt the moral and mind of the people. The Roman pontiff cannot and ought not to reconcile himself to agree with progress, liberalism, and modern civilization. To its credit, although belatedly and reluctantly, the Church in 1992 repudiated its denunciation of Galileo. It still cannot quite bring itself, though, to see the significance of its opposition. In a 1992 speech, Pope John Paul II argued, "From the beginning of the age of enlightenment down to our own day, the Galileo case has been a sort of myth in which the image fabricated out of the event is quite far removed from reality. In this perspective, the Galileo case was a symbol of the Catholic Church's supposed rejection of scientific progress, or of dogmatic obscurantism opposed to the free search for truth. But surely the Holy Inquisition, assuring the elderly and infirm Galileo in to inspect the instrument of torture in the dungeons of the church not only admit but require that such an interpretation. This was not merely scientific caution and restraint, reluctance to shift paradigm until compelling evidence, such as annual parallax, was available. This was fear of discussion and debate, considering alternative views and threatening to torture their proponent betray a lack of faith in the very doctrine and parishioners that are ostensibly being protected. Why were threat and Galileo's house arrest needed? Cannot truth defend itself in its confrontation with error? The Pope does, though, go on to add, the error of the theologian of the time when they maintain the centrality of the earth was to think that our understanding of the physical world structure was in some way imposed by the literal sense of the sacred scriptures. Here indeed considerable progress has been made, although proponents of fundamentalist faith will be distressed to hear from the pontiff that sacred scripture is not always literally true. But if the Bible is not everywhere literally true, which parts are divinely inspired and which are merely fallible and human? As soon as we admit that there are scriptural mistakes or concession to the ignorance of the times, then how can the Bible be an inerrant guide to ethics and morals? Might sect and individual now accept as authentic the part of the Bible they like and reject those that are inconvenient or burdensome? Prohibitions against murder, say, are essential for a society to function, but if divine retribution for murder is considered infallible, won't more people think they can get away with it? Many felt that Copernicus and Galileo were up to no good and erosive of the social order. Indeed, any challenge from any source to the literal truth of the Bible might have such consequences. We can readily see how science began to make people nervous. Instead of criticizing those who perpetuated the misuse, public rancor was directed at those who discredited them.